What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA, and man, what a time to be a DC fan, right? I mean, everything is just absolutely going chaotic, but it's kind of a good thing because you know that behind the scenes, things are starting to move in the good direction. And if you're a DC guy like I am, you're happy about that because we have absolutely dealt with some really terrible storytelling, not just in film, but also on television as well. And now it seems like we're going to start getting things moving in the right direction. But yeah, can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. That's what James Gunn is basically saying. Hey, I'm here to crack the eggs over all of y'all heads and let some of y'all down. But at the same time, I'm going to build this thing into something that we can all be happy and proud of. That's what I'm here to see. Thank you, James Gunn. Let's go ahead and check out this article by Deadline. James Gunn responds to Wonder Woman 3 axing possible DC franchise turnover. We are not going to make every single person happy. Yeah, they haven't done that so far at all. I don't think it's possible to make everybody happy when you're talking about comic books because the comic book infighting is well known, well regarded. It's like being a Star Wars fan. You ain't gonna please all the Star Wars fans all the time. You can maybe get about 80% of them on board and then the other 20% is gonna be pissed. But that's just the way it is, okay? When you're dealing with major franchises that got millions of fans all over the world. Yeah, but let's go ahead and read this article. So DC Studios co-head James Gunn took to Twitter to respond to the chaotic news that broke yesterday about Patty Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 getting shit canned, basically, and not moving forward along with other DC changes. You can go ahead and read those tweets. I actually talked about that particular situation. I'll link that video above. You can go ahead and check that out at your leisure. In regards to the news that came out yesterday, including buzz that the newly announced Henry Cavill may or may not reprise Superman as well as other possible turnovers of the DC stars and franchises, Gunn says today, some of it's true, some of it's half true, some of it's not true, and some of it we haven't decided yet whether it's true or not. Right? I mean, that's where we're at right now. We don't know what the hell is going on, but I, again, think it's a good thing, okay? I want somebody to actually sit down and iron out a good DC universe, okay? Just stop throwing shit up at the wall. Hey, let's try that, knock that off, okay? No, we don't want that, okay? DC fans want a nice, cohesive story, and I think that's what James Gunn understands. Working over there with Marvel, Marvel delivered, at least with the first 3 phases, a solid universe. That's what the DC fans want. Hey, give us that, okay? And James Gunn working over there, and his knowledge of comic books, his knowledge of film, I think he's going to deliver it, but gonna be some eggs getting broke, and that's just the way it is. Now, granted, the optics of the James Safran arrival at the studio and the deep sixing of Jenkins' Wonder Woman 3 treatment doesn't look good. Yeah, because basically they're going to say, oh, sexism, right? Because Batgirl got canned, okay? But that was by David Zaslav, as this thing points out. Jenkins was given the chance to take another stab at a Wonder Woman treatment after receiving notes from all the Warner Brother motion picture brass. There were concerns about character arcs and payoffs, and the threequel emulating similar structural problems a la Wonder Woman 1984. You see what I'm saying? This chick had no business making it. She was about to make Wonder Woman like 1998 or whatever. She was going to do the exact same crap that she did in the last film. She learned absolutely no lessons, okay? Why would they even, I wouldn't have even invited her to the meeting. I would have said every time that chick called in, okay, she ready to deliver a treatment. Who is this? Patty Jenkins? Sorry, wrong number. Ain't no way in hell. No, we saw Wonder Woman 84, chick. You know exactly what it was that you was about to do. Yeah, so they said, nah, we ain't going for it. But they gave her the opportunity to do it. And what happened? She decided to take her toys and go home, right? Went off and ran off pouting like a little brat. Man, yeah, no, good riddance, okay? We don't need that energy around here. Deuces, get up out of here. Great, glad to see that, okay? The studio would like to do another Wonder Woman. However, the question is, will Gal Gadot do it sans Jenkins? Warner's intent was never to be sexist. No, it wasn't sexist, all right? At this time, I think like straight up, like DC Studios, like Warner Brothers in general, especially DC, it's just about to be meritocracy on max, okay? Hey, give us the goods. If it's trash, get up out of here. Try again. Okay, we'll give you another shot. All right. But we're not just about to just hand stuff off just because you a female, all right? Or just because you are a minority. No, we want good stories. That's what's happening right now, okay? And I don't blame them. All right, DC has been all over the place, okay? And right now with Marvel going through this whole reorganization, they trying to figure out what it is that they're going to do. Remember that story? I'll link that one above too if you haven't seen it. Like, yeah, they can't be messing around with all of this nonsense. Sexist, like what? No, it came up to, as it says here, creative differences, okay? But it does say that Gal Gadot in her tweet before the chaotic news made it sound like she's still game. Yeah, that's kind of what I think too. You can see this part right here. Yeah, she said, yeah, I can't wait to share her next chapter with you, you know? And remember, this came out the day before. This came out December 6th, and all the news dropped December 7th, right? And she already knew. She already knew before everybody said anything about Wonder Woman. She knew what was going down, okay? She knew what was going down, and she's like, hey, I'm on board. Hey, Patty, it's been real. Hey, nice meeting you. Hey, we'll see you around the corner. Hey, I'm off to make Wonder Woman 3 with these other guys. You know, she ain't tripping. She ain't tripping. She wants to be in this movie, and I absolutely think that she should be. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out what James Gunn's tweets were like, okay? And let's see if we can read between the lines on a little bit of this stuff and see where his head might be at. So as it says here, this is the first part of the tweet that they said, though some of it's true, half true, and all of that, okay? He said, although this first month that DC has been fruitful, building the next 10 years of story takes time, and we're still just beginning. Peter and I chose to helm DC Studios knowing we were coming into a fractious environment. Hell yes. Man, DC fans, comic book fans in general, man, always fractious. You guys know that just as well as I do, okay? Again, just like Star Wars, man. You know, you can't make everybody happy. Both in the stories being told and in the audience itself, yep. There would be an unavoidable transition period, right, okay? You gotta move some of this stuff around. Some of it you might keep, some of it you might get rid of, but you gotta do something. This transition is not gonna be easy for anybody. As we try to move into a cohesive story across TV, animation, gaming, and film. Okay, so this part right here, you know, these 4 elements combining into a cohesive story, that's hella difficult. I don't know how they're gonna pull that off, okay? For me, it seems like you're kind of constricting the types of games and animation and stories that you can do. If you're trying to condense it all into one cohesive story, you're going to run into some issues. You're going to run into some plots where it's like, hey, man, this plot don't necessarily fit with what we want to do over here. You got multiple different types of creators trying to filter into this thing. It's going to be hard, but he saw Kevin Feige do something similar, although he wasn't involved in like animation and gaming. I don't know how that's going to work. We'll see. But this is the important tweet that I think that everybody's kind of maybe overlooking or maybe looking. I'm not sure, but I haven't heard much about this one. But in the end, the drawbacks of that transitional period were dwarfed by the creative possibilities. And here's the kicker: the opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. I've heard a lot about reboots. I mean, we scrap the whole thing, start all the way over from scratch, blank page, okay? I've heard that. But this doesn't sound like that at all right? He's talking about building upon what has worked. If you're building upon what has worked, that means you're keeping stuff, okay? Oh, that worked. Let's keep it. Let's keep moving forward with it, okay? We're just going to build on top of it, right? All right? You're adding to it, all right? But also help rectify what has not. So if there's something that is broken, okay, it's not like, well, we're just going to crumple this up and throw it away, all right? We're going to rectify it. We're going to try to fix what wasn't working on it, okay? You got a bike with a flat tire, you don't throw the whole bike away. Hey, let's just put some air in the tire. That's kind of what they're saying, okay? We need to put air in some of these tires to get this thing to roll correctly over here at DCU. So that brings up a question, right? Because I think DC is in a good space right now. Like I was saying, Marvel fatigue is set in, right? Like, people are tired of Marvel, and they're probably looking for something, especially your general audience, okay? Not your, like, hardcore comic fans, but your general audience. They're looking for something new. They're looking for something unique. They're tired of the Marvel formula. They get it. They know it. It's boring. It's old. Marvel needs to go back and revamp that entire Marvel formula that they made in the first 3 phases. They got to figure out something else because the fandom and the general audience, they've just kind of given up, right? That's in my opinion. So I'm thinking that in this case, James Gunn, right, he kind of knows how to strike that proper tone with your general audience, okay? Try to give them something that they enjoy, all right? And also taking like obscure characters that people don't really know that well, okay? Little regarded, but then kind of bringing them into the spotlight and making them household names, okay? He understands that level of filmmaking, that level of storytelling, okay? So I think that he's the right guy for this particular job when it comes to fixing something that isn't working over at DC. That doesn't mean just scrapping everything. That means that you got to take a Henry Cavill Superman and you got to do it a little bit differently to get this thing to work correctly. Now, I want to address one of the big problems that I see right now when it comes to this, and this is what makes me think it's not going to be a total reboot. All right, here's your upcoming schedule, okay? You got Shazam, you got Flash, you got Blue Beetle, and you got Aquaman all coming out next year. Here are their dates, okay? All in 2023. I don't think you can just say, hey, we're about to announce a wholesale reboot. Blank page, wiping all of this stuff off the mat, starting completely over. If you said that, all 4 of these films are going to fail in the box office. You're talking about just tank. Because why would anybody go and watch, oh yeah, this is, all right, man, I ain't watching this. You'll get some hardcore fans, but you're not going to get your general audience, okay? They're going to say, oh, none of this stuff is going to continue. None of this stuff matters, okay? Get at me when you guys are making something that actually matters and that's actually going to continue into a universe, all right? That's the whole purpose of making a universe. Otherwise, you just might as well make a bunch of one-offs, all right? So I don't think that they are going to completely just disregard these 4 films. They haven't even had an opportunity yet. So if you come out here and announce in the next month or 2 months, all right, yeah, we're about to go ahead and reshuffle the deck and just drop all of this stuff. We're recasting Superman, recasting all of these guys. Aquaman is Lobo now. We're getting rid of Gal Gadot. I mean, you've actually just destroyed these films, okay? So I don't think that's going to happen. Now, what do I think is going to happen? This is where I say we got to build upon what's worked so far and then rectify what's not. So what's the criteria of what has worked so far or what has not worked so far? I think it comes down to box office, right? And then fan popularity of some of the characters, okay? So let's take a look at that. So first up, if you're talking about something that has worked, at least from the fans' perspective, you got to go with Henry Cavill as Superman, all right? He's absolutely worked. He's been one of the things that the fans have absolutely wanted. I don't think they're going to get rid of Henry Cavill, okay? Especially since they just brought him back. Like, that would be insane just to say, all right, you're done. Like, one little cameo at the end of Black Adam and that's it. I don't think that's what's going to happen. So, you know, I think Henry Cavill is safe, although they'll probably reboot his entire film series, start them all over, maybe The Man of Tomorrow or something, I don't know. But they're going to go in a completely different direction, but he will be Superman. That's my opinion in any case. All right, then we get to Gal Gadot. Like I said, I think they like Gal. I think Gal Gadot is probably safe at this point in time. It seems like, you know, again, according to that Deadline article, they want to make more Wonder Woman films, all right? She's already been Wonder Woman. She's popular, and she had a very good first film, okay? The first outing as Wonder Woman was good. Wonder Woman 84, dog shit. Nobody's questioning that at this point, okay? Even the executives are saying, nah, this seems like too much like Wonder Woman 84. Get that up out of here, okay? But I think that Gal Gadot is safe. They can find other writers to work with her, other directors to work with her, and do a bang-up job. I think her Wonder Woman, her Diana Prince is fine, you know, again, and I still want to see some kind of a warrior Wonder Woman. I think that that's the direction that they'll ultimately go. I think that Jason Momoa's Aquaman has absolutely worked as well. I don't think that I don't have a problem with it, okay? I know some folks are like, hey, man, it's a race swap, you know, the blonde hair and all that kind of stuff like that. I totally get that. But in terms of what has absolutely worked, I mean, he has the charisma, okay? A movie star's charisma, he pulls it off. He pulls it off well. Now, there's the rumors of him playing Lobo. And if James Gunn is that hard up for Lobo, like he can't find any other human being on the face of the planet to play Lobo, then yeah, I guess that Jason Momoa is going to end up dumping this character. He won't be Aquaman anymore. Maybe they'll just get rid of Aquaman altogether and just let him go ahead and move over to Lobo. Then we got Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I absolutely think that fans like her rendition of Harley Quinn, especially the way that James Gunn directed her in the Suicide Squad. And of course, since he's the head of the studio, I think that he's going to try to keep as much of his stuff, okay? Much of his stuff that he did, I think he's going to keep all of that stuff around, especially this particular show, Peacemaker, okay? For many, many reasons. Number one, it's a great show, okay? I think it's the most highly rated thing that the DCEU ever had, okay? So I'm pretty sure they're going to keep it for that purpose and that reason alone. But also, number two, he made the show, okay? So it's his people, it's his characters. So it's going to fit in with the way that he's going to kind of tell this overarching story. He'll definitely try to fit Peacemaker in here. And then, of course, number three, his wife's in the show. She's a main star of the show. And I'm pretty sure he wants to keep his wife happy. So I don't see any chance of this particular thing dropping out of his slate of films and television shows. And then Amanda Waller, okay, also a part of that Suicide Squad Peacemaker look. There was talks about her getting a spinoff. I think that Amanda Waller, Viola Davis as Amanda Waller works, okay? I think that absolutely works. I don't think they will end up getting her out of there. She makes a great villain, all right? So if they keep the Peacemaker around, she'll be around in it. And I think they'll, you know, pretty much sprinkle her in and out of various different stories within the DCU, you know, kind of like Nick Fury and how they use him. Now, these two guys, Shazam and Black Adam, I consider these two on the fence, all right? for a lot of reasons, but the main one is the box offices just weren't there as many people expected them to be, okay? You know, like Dwayne, he can sit up here and try to spin it all he wants to. Oh, man, this is a success. We're going to make some money. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Dwayne, all right, cool. But y'all lost money in the box office, and that's one big thing that they're looking at. Now, Shazam didn't lose money in the box office. It made a little bit of money, not a lot of money, all right? We're going to see what this next film does. I think this next film is actually going to do a lot better in the box office just based on the timing and where it's coming out. I think it's going to really, really do well. I don't know if I would get rid of this, but I can definitely say it's on the fence. It could either stay or go, all right? But definitely it's not a slam dunk. It's not an automatic. Even with The Rock in this thing, it's not an automatic like, yeah, this is going to be a part of the DCU. It could easily fall off. Now, one thing that I do think that they probably need to consider is bringing in the Teen Titans at some point. Okay, to me, like the Teen Titans is just like a big no-brainer, right? Okay, because you have a group of characters that like an entire generation just grew up watching on television, right? On Cartoon Network, right? Very popular show, got repeated over and over. People flock to it. They love it, all right? I don't see how you don't just say, hey, man, we got to go ahead and do a Teen Titans movie. All right, now I'm not talking about that Titans crap on HBO Max. I think that show has moments at times, but its overall is just bad. I'm talking about like a proper Teen Titans with teenagers cast as the characters, okay? And then you can just watch them grow up and go through the next 10 years of the DC universe. I think that would be dope. I don't understand why that hasn't happened yet. It's one of those weird kind of like, what's going on here? Like, are you guys not aware of how good this thing could be? Because to me, it's amazing if you get it done right. You're talking about like maybe like one of the best franchises that DC or even Marvel could possibly have. And on top of that, man, it's like your entry level for all of your young kids that may or may not be familiar with the DC. Hey, man, bring them in, watching some young kids, kind of like, again, what they did with the cartoons, and just introduce them to the DC universe that way. You know, to me, it's just a no-brainer, but whatever. Going back to his tweet, you know, basically he said, yeah, we're not going to make everybody happy along the way, but we can promise everything we've done is in service of the story and in service of the DC characters we know you cherish and we have cherished our whole lives. As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and the stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer. So I think that at the end of the day, James Gunn is going to definitely keep some of these characters on. How many, who, I don't know, okay? But I don't see a big reboot, like I said, because you got 4 films coming out. It would absolutely destroy those, all right? I think there will be a soft reboot of some sort, okay? Like maybe a half and half reboot. Like I said, we keep Superman, we keep Wonder Woman, we keep Aquaman, we keep some of these other characters that have already been in the DCU. But then we kind of flip it around and say, okay, we're going to recast Batman and Flash, you know, or maybe they do recast, make Jason Momoa Lobo, and then find a blonde hair, blue-eyed Aquaman. Maybe that's what they do. I'm not sure. You know, there's a lot that they could play around with. Of course, Flashpoint is coming up, okay? And if they have Flash to work with, okay, and they really want to reboot things, you know, it's nothing hard about just inserting, you know, post-credit scenes to flip a couple of things around. And then by the time we hit 2024, we're on our way into a new DC universe. But anyway, folks, what do you think about this situation with James Gunn giving us a little bit more detail, or a little bit at least inside of his head, like what he's thinking and where this thing might be going? Go ahead, jump down in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts and opinions are. And thanks for watching. See you next time.